Hello, in this presentation we will be taking a look at the fonts and numbers options within the balance sheet for QuickBooks Pro 2018. If you've been following along with us, we will be continuing with the Get Great Guitars problem. If not, that's okay. We're going to take a look at the fonts and numbers options within the balance sheet reports. If you have the backup file, you can restore that by going to the File and Restore, as we've seen in a prior presentation. We have the Open Windows open here, which you can open by going to the View tab and Open Window List. We also have the company homepage, which can be found at the company dropdown and the home page, giving us the homepage starting point. We're going to be looking at the balance sheet, so therefore we will open a balance sheet by going to the Reports dropdown, Company and Financial, selecting the balance sheet. And I know we have gone through this process of opening the balance sheet multiple times here, but this should be basically routine. Every time we open the program, we want to basically go to the home page. We want to see this page. We want to have the same starting point. We want to be able to open this balance sheet automatically. So we're going to go to that, and then we're going to tab through this. We're just going to change the date to 12/31/21, December 31st, 2021. Then we're going to go to the Customize Reports option up top. Customize Report. We've taken a look at the display. We've taken a look at the header and footer. We're looking at the fonts at this point, the fonts options. Now this is going to be just how do we like to see the report in essence. So we have the change in fonts 4. We can change these various areas within the fonts. So the columns and labels. Do we want to change the columns and labels? Do we want to change the rows in the font? Once we pick one of these options, we can then go to the change font item here, and we'll see kind of a familiar font layout where we have the fonts on the left. Here's the Arial as the default. If we go through these items, we can see some different font layouts, and this can really give us some customization, a customized feel to this information. So if we chose, say, something that would look very different like this, and effects, we can have the strikeout here and the underline there, which could be useful in different parts of this text. And then we have the colors. We could change the colors completely. If we wanted a different color scheme, again, let's choose something that will stand out. And then we have the bold and changing the size. So if we change the size significantly, we would have something such as that, and saying OK. I'll change all related fields. I'm going to say yes. And then we have this item. If I'm going to say OK, we could see how that we would display some substantial changes in these options here. So I'm going to go back to the Customize Reports. We're going to go back to Fonts and Numbers. Clearly that change didn't look too great. So if we wanted to revert back to the original settings, we can select the Revert. And that'll take us back to the default settings. If we select OK, then we'll go back to the default. Obviously, if there's any problems, we can just close the report as well and reprocess the report, going to the File tab and going down to the report, and then just create a fresh report if we do anything that's terrible here. So we're going to go back to the Customize Reports, and we're going to go back to Fonts and Numbers. Then we have these options over here, Show Negative Numbers. Now, a lot of people have a lot of different preferences here. When I work with Excel, I know that I tend to like the parentheses look. So when we have a negative number, to have the parentheses. That's something that is useful to me. Trailing, I don't know, that maybe that's useful to some people. That's not how I'm used to seeing it. I like kind of the parentheses, but bright red can be useful as well if we want to have the red text in there. I know that's going to be something that's done oftentimes with people's Excel sheets, have strong preferences according to the text type. We might want to match that here within QuickBooks, and you have the ability to do so. If we want to go to Show All Numbers, this is a really good option as well. If we want to say divide by 1000, meaning we want to tell our reader, look, we're putting it in thousands here. So we're going to remove some zeros if we have some reports that are substantially long in terms of big dollar amounts. We might want to put it in thousands. So divide by thousands, such as this. If we were to do that and we look at this report, we've got the 98,995. If I say OK, we're down to 99, and if it's by thousands, we have this little icon here that says accrual basis, numbers in thousands, meaning that was rounded to 99,000, and you're supposed to just know it's got 3 zeros there for the thousands. Then we're going to go back to the Customize Report up top, Fonts and Numbers. We remove the thousands. We go back to the fonts and numbers. Now, you'll note that when we had the thousands here, if we have the thousands checked, when we looked at that report, it had pennies on it still. So we divided it by 1,000 down here, and then it still had pennies. Like, it still has cents, even though we're reporting it in thousands. So if we do pick the divide by thousands, we probably also want to say, don't show the pennies if we're dividing by 1,000. If the $1,000 amount is not significant, then the pennies aren't. You would think that would kind of be part of the default, but it's not. So we want to go divide by 1,000 and remove the pennies. And if we do that, then these the cents will be removed. So we're going to say okay, and now we have no cents there too, in that we have no change being reported. We have no pennies in the numbers. So hopefully the report does, however, make sense in that we're talking about 99,000 about. We're going to go back to the Customize Report. We're going to go to Fonts and Numbers. And then we can also do that if I don't divide by 1,000 and still want to remove the cents. Then we're going to say okay in the pennies. So there it is. And we have no change in there for that as well. So those are going to be the options. If we go to the Customize, those are going to be the fonts and numbers options. Worth taking a look at, worth working through this. We can really change the image and the impact of a report depending on the different styles we have. Changing the styles within a report that's in QuickBooks can give someone an impression of that we know more of what we're doing just by changing a few things, just by changing a few fonts can kind of impress some people. It can be taken overboard. However, do not get silly with it and have crazy fonts that don't make any sense. But a little touch here and there can go a long way in terms of impressions, in terms of people seeing and recognizing or feeling that someone has better control over their QuickBooks reporting and therefore applying that most likely to their overall knowledge of QuickBooks.